This is a video review of the Smiths PRS-29a, sold by TimeFactors, a UK company. I've taken a strap off it to give you a better look at the case. I've tried to get my fingers out of the way as best as I can. A quick sort of history lesson about the watch really. This is a sort of like a reissue or a re-edition would be probably a better term, of a watch made by a company called Smiths, who produced some very nice watches in England. I believe they're now out of business. And one of the watches they produced was a watch called the W10, which was a military issue watch in the late 1960s. It's sort of very sought after now. I mean, about 10 years ago you could get them for less than £100 in good condition. Now it's quite tricky to get them for sort of less than £300 in good condition. The W10 is quite sort of a legendary watch in a way, and this is a very faithful kind of reinterpretation of that. So the design is very similar, the dimensions are almost identical, and the fundamental layout is almost identical again. Some slight differences are that, I can focus the camera. So underneath the Smiths sort of name you can see the letter L in a circle. It stands for Superluminova, L being the luminova, which is the material used in the dial indices and the hands to make it glow in the dark. In the original watch had a T there for tritium, which is obviously no longer used. And just below the 6, either side of the 6 o'clock marker, you can see Great Britain. The previous watch, the W10 had, I think, made in England there. But aside from that, they're pretty much identical. The watch has an acrylic crystal, which you can sort of make out there, which it scratches very easily, but it's very easy to polish out yourself. It's unlikely to shatter or crack in the same way a sapphire crystal would. The case is made out of brushed stainless steel. It's just beautifully finished throughout really. I have no complaints there. Interestingly, to keep to the original specification, the bars that hold the strap in place between the lugs, they're actually part of the case, they're fixed, which means you can only fit sort of certain straps in there, but obviously it adds to the strength of the watch, and it sort of has a benefit that you don't have to worry about a spring bar breaking on you, you're losing your watch. You can see on the back of the case it's got Smith's name, it's got a sort of an issue number, serial number, and it says sort of water resistant, 10 atmospheres, which I believe is about 100 metres. PRS-29a, which is a model number, anti-magnetic to 50,000, I think that is. And basically that's a soft iron dial and a soft sort of iron inner core around the movement sort of dust cover. You can see there ETA 2801, that's the movement. It's a hand wound movement. It's a Swiss made, very accurate, in my experience it's been within a second or two a day, which is incredibly accurate actually for a watch for this price. Winds very smoothly. Power reserve is, I haven't really measured it, but it's well over a day, probably close to 2 days. It's 36mm across the dial, not including the crown, which is quite small for a watch these days. There is a sister model of this which is 39mm across and has a sapphire crystal and normal spring bars, which also is more of a modern interpretation of the original, whereas this is more sort of faithful. It actually wears a bit larger though, because the lug to lug distance, this distance here, is about 50mm. I think it's so long to sort of make space for straps and stuff, because you've got the fixed bars. But so it doesn't feel overly small. I actually had the 39mm version, the PRS-29b. And I swapped it for this because of that reason actually, because the lugs were even further apart and it just felt too big on my wrists. Okay, so that's the watch. So when you buy a TimeFactors watch you get a warranty card, and on the back it's got all your details. Generic business card, your operating instructions, and some nice technical drawings of the watch. and detailed specifications. And something I personally really like is that they give you this sort of very practical sort of 2-watch carry case. So if I open that up, and you can see the things that originally came in here. So we've got a polish cloth. So it's quite tricky to do one-handed. This is the strap it comes on. It's a grey NATO strap. It's very nice. I actually wear it on a black NATO. And you get these 2 sort of French leather straps, and they actually clip on. If I zoom the camera in, they actually clip on to the fixed bars, and that's the case. And you can actually fit 2 watches in there, and that's what the watch looks like on a quite hairy wrist. I think I would say it's probably a perfect fit, really. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching.